the only survivor of the 7 ancient wonders. A mathematical miracle, an architectural impossibility.
Built around 2560 BCE in the 4th dynasty, it once rose 146.6 meters into the desert sky.
2.3 million limestone blocks, roughly 6 million tons of stone. Most at approximately 2.5 tons apiece. Granite from Aswan inside the king's chamber, approximately 80 tons.
Quarried, ferried down the Nile, hauled up ramps, set so tight a sheet of paper can't slip the joints. How? Chapter 1. The Great Pyramid. Monument at the edge of possibility. Not aliens, not a lost machine age. Something more astonishing, human organization. In 2013, a papyrus surfaced. The Diary of Merer, a hieratic logbook by an inspector tied to Khufu's vizier, Ankaf. Daily runs of Tura limestone, shipped by boat along engineered canals to Giza. The oldest construction log we've ever found. And the workforce? Not slaves. Skilled crews, approximately 13,000 to 40,000. Rotating files, fed from state granaries, housed in workers' villages south of the plateau. In 1837, red ochre graffiti in the relieving chambers declared, "The white crown of Khnum Khufu is mighty." Pride, painted in stone. Inside, 3 chambers, the unfinished subterranean room, the so-called Queen's Chamber, and the King's Chamber, a granite masterpiece roofed by 9 slabs totaling approximately 400 tons to carry the mountain above. From the King's Chamber, 2 narrow shafts rise. Not for air, for stars. North to the imperishable circumpolars, south to Orion, seat of Osiris. Spiritual highways for Khufu's Ka to ascend and be reborn. Then the modern X-ray, in 2017, Muon radiography mapped a greater than 30-meter sealed void above the Grand Gallery, untouched for 45 centuries. What waits inside, no one knows. And a splinter from the past, a cedar fragment from the Queen's south shaft, rediscovered in 2020.
Carbon dated to around 300 BCE, 7 centuries before Khufu.
Recycled time set in stone.
The Great Pyramid is more than geometry. It's a time capsule. A message that whispers, look deeper.
Chapter 2. The Osiris Shaft. Temple beneath the tomb. Beneath the causeway of Khafra's pyramid. Where sunlight never reaches, and groundwater shimmers in still, ancient pools, lies one of Giza's most haunting secrets. The Osiris Shaft. A gate to the underworld itself. 1945. Egyptian archaeologist Abdel Monem Abu Bakr. While surveying the plateau, he finds a narrow, vertical tunnel in the bedrock. Locals whisper of bottomless wells. He calls it a shaft. But what he's found is a descent through time. For decades, flooding kept explorers away. Then, in 1999, archaeologist Zahi Hawass returns, this time with divers, cameras, and the courage to go where no one has gone in 4 millennia. What they uncover defies every textbook description of a tomb. 3 vertical shafts, A, B, and C, carved into solid limestone, dropping through 3 subterranean levels. Level 1, narrow chambers, unfinished. Level 2, a gallery of stone alcoves. Level 3, the abyss. There, surrounded by black, stagnant water, rests a basalt sarcophagus, 228 centimeters long, carved in the likeness of Osiris, Lord of Death and Resurrection.
note. It is empty. It was always empty. This was never a tomb. It was a cenotaph, a symbolic house for a god, not for a man.
A reference to the primordial waters of Nun, the cosmic ocean from which all creation was born. Osiris rose from those waters after death, dismembered by Set, reassembled by Isis, reborn as ruler of eternity. The Egyptians built this place to recreate that resurrection, over and over, forever.
They named it Per Usir Neb Rostau. The house of Osiris, Lord of Rostau, meant the tunnels. To them, this wasn't a tomb. It was the gateway to the underworld.
From the darkness, Hawas's divers lift the past. Figurines, shabtis, carved servants of the dead. Pottery from the 6th dynasty, amulets shaped as scarabs, jed pillars, and the feather of Atef, sacred to Osiris. 2 obsidian finger amulets, and a tiny basalt Horus figurine. These weren't grave goods, they were offerings.
Proof that the cult of Osiris thrived here for over 2,000 years.
From the Old Kingdom to the Ptolemaic Age. Long after the pyramid builders were dust, pilgrims still came to feed the god beneath the sands. 2,000 years earlier, the Greek historian Herodotus wrote of a secret chamber beneath Giza. A king buried on an island surrounded by water, linked to the Nile through hidden channels. Was he describing this very place? Did he glimpse what we only rediscovered in our own time?
The Osiris shaft predates Khufu, predates Khafre, perhaps predates history itself.
The chamber's purpose was not burial, Pelfatas, it was transformation.
By linking the pharaoh's pyramids above to the watery realm of Osiris below, the Egyptians built a resurrection machine.
An architectural loop between life and afterlife.
Death wasn't an ending, it was a change of state. And in the flooded darkness under Giza, that change was made real, stone by stone, ritual by ritual, eternity by design. Even today, the water still whispers. The basalt coffin waits, empty but powerful. The ancients built more than monuments. They built portals, and our next mystery lies where the guardian of those portals first spoke. Chapter 3. The Dream, Stele, when the Sphinx spoke. Imagine falling asleep in the shadow of a god, and waking to find your destiny rewritten by its voice. This is the story of Thutmose IV, and the day the Sphinx, Egypt's oldest guardian, spoke. The Great Sphinx of Giza. Carved from bedrock around 2500 BCE, under the reign of Khafre, 73 meters long, 20 meters high. A lion's body, a king's face, eyes fixed on the rising sun. But by the time Thutmose was born, the 14th century BCE, 1,000 years later, the Sphinx was buried. Sand had swallowed it to the neck. The Old Kingdom had fallen, the Middle Kingdom had risen and died, and the guardian of Giza stood forgotten. A head adrift in a sea of dunes. Thutmose was the 4th son of Amenhotep II.
Never meant to rule. The throne was for his elder brothers.
His future lay in service, not sovereignty. Then came the day of the hunt. Midday heat, the desert shimmering. The young prince sought shade beneath the half-buried Sphinx and slept. In his dream, stone became breath. The Sphinx opened its eyes. Its voice, the voice of Horemakhet, Horus of the horizon, filled the air. "Clear away the sand that suffocates me," it said, "and I will make you pharaoh." Thutmose awoke in silence, but he remembered He ordered men to dig. He freed the Sphinx from its grave of wind and time, and against every royal expectation, he became king. To seal the covenant, Thutmose erected a monument between the paws. A slab of red granite, 3.6 meters tall, its carvings sunk deep into the stone. This is the dream Stele. It shows Thutmose burning incense to Atum and Horus, while lines of hieroglyphs record the dream, the bargain that changed history. But the Stele hides another secret. Its base was recycled. The stone once served as a boundary marker from Khafra's pyramid temple. 14 centuries older.
The Egyptians were pragmatic. Sacred stone was never wasted. They built the future on the bones of the past.
The lower lines of the inscription are eroded, but enough remains to reveal something profound. For more than a millennium, the Sphinx had slept.
Revered by the Old Kingdom, ignored by the Middle, resurrected by the New.
Thutmose's excavation wasn't just an act of devotion. It was a rebirth, the return of solar power, of divine kingship, of Egypt's most ancient god opening his eyes again. From that moment, the Sphinx was no longer a relic. It was prophecy carved in limestone, a symbol that the king ruled by the sun itself.
Centuries passed. Empires rose, fell, and forgot.
Then came 2018. Students at Harvard University recreated the dream Stele in translucent blue urethane from 19th century molds kept at KU Leuven.
The same promise, rebirth through vision, alive again in silicon and light. But what truly happened on that day in the dunes?
Did a buried monument whisper to a sleeping prince? Or did an ambitious man craft divine propaganda to justify an impossible rise? Was it faith or politics disguised as revelation?
We may never know. But one thing is certain. Even when half buried and forgotten, the Sphinx held power. It didn't need to move. It only needed to whisper.
And when it spoke, kingdoms listened. Chapter 4, Akhenaten, the Heretic King and the Revolution of Light. 1353 BCE. The sands of Egypt burn under a new sun. A young pharaoh rises to the throne. His name, Amenhotep IV. Within 5 years, he will ignite a revolution that shakes heaven itself. The first flare. For 3,000 years, Egypt had worshipped a pantheon. Amun, Ra, Osiris, Isis, Horus, hundreds of gods, priests, temples, rituals, a balance of faith and power. Then, the young king breaks the balance. He declares the sun itself, Aten, the radiant disk, to be the only true god. He takes a new name, Akhenaten, effective for the Aten. He shuts the temples of Amun. He seizes their gold. He silences the priests. And he builds a new capital in the desert, a city called Akhenaten, horizon of the Aten, the city of light. Amarna rises from bare sand like a mirage, a city with no shadow. Temples open to the sky, their altars drenched in sunlight instead of incense smoke. Offering flowers, bread, wine, not to idols, but to light. This was more than religion. It was a political coup. By erasing the gods, he erased their priests and pulled every channel of devotion, every coin of tribute into his own hands. The faces of Amarna. The art of his court shatters tradition. No more rigid perfection. Now, intimacy. Akhenaten kissing Nefertiti. Their 3 daughters laughing, clutching ankhs, playing at their feet. The royal family bathed in beams of Aten. And yet, look closer. The king's body is strange. Elongated skull, narrow limbs, rounded belly, hips too wide for a warrior. And that face, half masculine, half divine. Was it a disorder, Marfen, Fröhlich, or a message that the pharaoh's body itself had transcended gender, becoming the living mirror of Aten's infinite form? CT scans of the KV-55 mummy, possibly Akhenaten, reveal a slightly elongated skull, flattened crown, but no disease markers. The deformity was deliberate. He had reshaped humanity's image of divinity, and perhaps his own, the letters of power. From his desert throne, Akhenaten ruled an empire by clay tablet. Over 350 Amarna letters, written in cuneiform, record his diplomacy with kings of Babylon, Mitanni, Assyria, the Hittites. Gold, lapis, cedar.
Trade and treaties carried his name to the edges of the known world. While Egyptologists argue that Amarna marked decline, the letters tell another story. His Egypt was still strong, only its god had changed.
The collapse. 17 years of sunlight, then, suddenly, dusk. Akhenaten dies in 1336 BCE. His dream of one god flickers and fades. Within months, temples reopen, priests return. And the boy king Tutankhaten, his son, renames himself Tutankhamun. The city of Akhenaten is abandoned. Its shrines are looted, its walls crumble. Akhenaten's name is chiseled from every monument, his memory erased. The heretic king becomes a ghost. The echo in time, but ideas don't die. They go underground, waiting for another dawn. Akhenaten's revolution, one god, one truth, one intermediary, would echo through the ages, in Judaism, in Christianity, in Islam, each claiming the same flame of monotheism that first burned at Amarna. He didn't just build a city, he built a blueprint for belief, a prototype for spiritual centralization, the fusion of politics and divinity. The final question: was Akhenaten a visionary who glimpsed the future? Or a tyrant who blinded a nation with the light of his own ambition? We may never know. But we still walk in his sunlight. And every dawn over Egypt carries his question forward. What if everything you worship is wrong? His name erased, his city lost to time. Yet under the desert, something still breathes. A hidden passage, a sealed door, a secret waiting to awaken. Next, Chapter 5. The Valley of the Kings, the Tomb of Two Pharaohs.